What's up, everybody? This is Greg with Advantage One Brokers, and this is the ADV1 podcast. This is a podcast we come to you each and every weekday with relevant topics and training, and we bring on guest speakers, just like our guest speaker today, Miss Jax Perry. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah. It never fails. Every single time it comes on, people start smiling. So
It's like it pumps you up. It's like
it works very well. Jax, how's it been? We have not been able to be on podcast and chat for a little bit. So how is everything going? Let's catch up, everybody, with what's happened in the interim.
You know, when I started and I did my first podcast with you, everything was so brand new.
Yeah.
And since then, just been complete blind faith. And everything has, it's been more than I could have expected, right? Like you wonder when you make a decision like that, like what is the outcome going to be? Mm-hmm. But it's been incredible. I've met so many amazing agents I would have never had the pleasure of meeting. My team is, growing, and they're getting in the field, and this thing is real. It wasn't just a lot of commotion we jumped into. It was a real vessel to make income and do what we actually set out to do. So
yeah, absolutely. And you, in the meantime, you've been recruiting a lot of people and bringing people overboard, saving agents as you were. You've started writing business with the A-leads here and the carriers here and learning new carriers. So it's been a bit of a process. You went out to California. We all met up in order to meet with Chris, and you could talk with Brian Pope and talk with everybody over there at the Quility offices, and had a great time. So during that process, in that interim since our last time we spoke, what highlights were there that really stick out to you that you want to share?
Well, going to Sacramento it was incredible, right? Getting to go in and seeing, this department and that department and meet this person and get their email and, get to kind of see the behind the scenes. For me, just the transparency of that, I understand the process more. When something takes a second, like I can visualize the person at the desk crunching, right? So it's easy for me because I went and did that step just to have a little bit of, grace for everybody. Because it is a lot of people, and I know what headquarters looks like, and I'm glad that there's more people there because they are just at their desks, crunching it. And, I was there on a weekend. So, they're going overtime, and everybody had, the last day that I was, in Sacramento, everyone had gone to Vegas for the telesales.
The training that was over at Vegas.
Yeah. When that got opened. And I got to sit for 6 hours with Brian Pope. I've actually seen Quility HQ up on the monitor. And so when it's announced, I was more than excited because I've seen it. Mm. The beginning of it, right? Like when he had it up there and was talking about the ins and outs of it, and that was really cool.
That's actually a good point. We haven't talked much about Quility HQ in the podcasts, and I'm excited for it to roll out to all the managers there because that's a clean system. That's a really dope manager CRM, and I mean, in essence, that's what it is. It's a CRM for managers to see your hierarchy. To see exactly how everything's laid out. You can click on individual people. You can see what their stats are, how many policies they've submitted, how many have been approved, how many have been charged back, etc.
Right.
How much they've made, like everything. You can see everything on all individual agents within your hierarchy right there on Quility HQ. It's phenomenal, actually. It's pretty cool.
What I loved about it too, and especially is, we kind of call our team kind of the island of the misfit toys, right? Like my team they were lazy. And, with HQ, you can see who's flying and you can see who needs your help. so that
Yep.
you can invest in those agents rather than like move them around like cattle, right? Oh, that's not the one, better buy a new one, right? So my mind was blown, super blown.
It's definitely. Yeah, I'm super excited for when that actually, because it's supposed to be rolling out within the next couple days, or like couple weeks, to where all of our managers have access to it.
I'm
But
so
when
excited.
it does, it's pretty dope. So I would expect it sometime in October.
Yeah.
So um, now you've been doing leads and running
I,
leads. So um, you got leads kind of late. I think it's just because of Washington State. And
yep.
so you jumped on board and you started actually recruiting people over here, and you hadn't really run leads yet, but now you have. So let's break that down. Let's talk about how these leads are. Give the upfront, no BS assessment. Let's hear this.
But my assessment's gonna sound like BS. These are so good. Oh my gosh. Where do I start? I got my leads. I got one at first, right? Because you buy 10 and you put the $500 up front and they sort of trickle in,
Yeah.
right? And then I just automatically I just have $700 just every week. I make sure that something goes back in to make it $700 in my deposit for my credit.
Okay.
They kind of trickle in like two at a time, five at a time, seven at a time. It's never 10 at a time, but I get 10 in a week. And I just call them. I don't have really, I don't have 150. I don't have 300 in front of me that I'm like, oh my God. I have like one. So if it comes on my app and I call them in the grocery store. I don't have a dial day. I don't have a dial hour. I call them. I say, hey, I forgot, your request in. If they hear the hustle and bustle, it just makes me sound like I'm not in a call center. Sorry, I was downtown. I just wanted to give you a call because it was important and it just came in and when's a good time to come out? And they're like, hey, working person, I'm a working person. How are you? Come over to my house tomorrow. No biggie. Well, that does, actually that doesn't work for my wife. And if you want her there, it's got to be Saturday. Okay, perfect. And I start telling them, I'm still kind of going in home. I know a lot of people are going, to telesales or over the phone. I still love a good in home. I just do.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing that, and kind of because there was a gap before I came here from my practice company where I was just so burnt out I wasn't working, and it took me a little bit to like get my groove back. So I needed to go in home and just kind of brush up my skills. And now telephone sales are a lot easier,
Mm.
you know. Um, but man, and really, so I had all these leads, and I went to Sacramento, and my leads were coming in while I was there. I got a little bit older leads. I think they sat for like 7 days on accident.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my agents, Devin, she was like, waiting for her leads, and she's very motivated. She's just a go-getter. And so I was like, why don't you just dial some of my leads so you can just see what they're like? And she was so blown away that it made it even more exciting for me, right? Because I was like, so then she's like, okay, what's your appointment? We made $4,500. She's like, no, you didn't. She's like, that lady was so cool. And she was just blown away that nobody was yelling at her. She's just blown away. Nobody yells. They don't yell.
Yeah.
I mean, they might yell, but they don't yell at us. They just don't. I took my daughter. We went to one of my first appointments, and it was in a part of Seattle it's a little sketchy, but it's kind of my area. There's a lot of diamonds in the rough there. And we get to this house. She's like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh, we're going in there. And So consequently, we knock on the door. She's like, if you don't, due to COVID, like you can't come in. I was like, perfect, I'll do this outside. Like just shut the screen door and grab a seat and I just crouched down with my computer and we went over her, her inventory, her mortgage was like 527,000. And I'm looking at this house, I'm like, girl, you got robbed. But what it was a builder loan. They're building a house in the yard next to it. So this house is going to be condemned. And she was elated for a $4,500 AP policy that was actually $100 cheaper a month than the one that she was in. So it just kind of goes to show you, like, I know the company that she had before. Like, I'm familiar with them. And just to have the ability to put her in something that was going to A, save her money, and B, up her coverage, I know that in a persistency mindset, like that's going to be the best thing, right?
Absolutely. And when you have really good leads that you're sitting with, you're not hounding to sit down with or to just call 3, 4, 5 times in a row just to try to get them on the phone. You're fighting through objections because they've been called by other agents, because these leads are sold to other agents, even though
Right.
you're being told they're not. And it's you struggle on the phone for 12 hours to finally get like 6, 7 appointments. Of those, those appointments that you do get, 5 of them no show you. So you sit with 2, and when you sit with them, you're so desperate to sell something to get your money back.
Yeah, you're starving.
Yeah.
And you know what I found, and Devin and I were just talking about this also. One of the things that I found is I do not, sorry.
That's fine.
I can say, yeah, think about it. Usually they think about it for about 4 hours, 1 day. I just want to think about it. And then when they call it's very more, like I come from a brick and mortar, and when we do it like that, like those clients are like, okay, yeah, we thought about it. Let's just go ahead and do it. I think that just helps persistency, truly. These are really qualified leads. They're just very educated people, right? They want to make an informed decision. When you sit with the final expense, client, like, I'm going to think about it means no. But when you're sitting with really educated people who are really about their money, that are really calculated, the definition is not really the same.
Yeah. And when you change that dynamic to where you're not in that situation where you're struggling and you're starving just to get a sale, that you'll, like I was talking to Devin, she sat with, like in that same scenario, just one of the people she sat with already had been sold, and they thought that she was bringing the policy. So when she talks to her upline and says, hey, this person already has a policy, like, what do I do? And he was like, do a policy review, see if you can beat it. Like, and this is with a policy that was written by an agent in the same company. And that's happening widespread.
Yeah.
So, when you're in that kind of scenario or that situation, you don't have the luxury of being the advisor.
Yeah.
Because everything that's just overwhelming you is causing desperation just to get a sale. You can't go in and be very assumptive and just say, this is what we're going to do. Assumptive without being aggressive.
Yeah.
And sit down and actually assess and have a conversation what they need and what they're looking for, because these people didn't really sign up for anything.
Right. So, well, let's talk about my last lead. I called you and I was freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what are these leads made of?
I said unicorn tears.
Yeah. I called Mike. Mike told me he can't talk right now. He would have to get with his wife and find a time that he could meet with us.
Mm.
I said, okay. That was a Monday. He called me back on Thursday. On Thursday, he said Saturday will work, but it has to be 1 or 4. I said, how about 4? He said, okay, perfect. So I drive, it's like 2 hours away. I drive towards him. I get a call from him, and I'm conditioned to don't answer it. But I don't have to do business like that anymore. So I answered it. What's up, Mike? I was just I just had I don't know if it was a bullet or a rock just went through my window. I'm on I-5. The sheriff is here. I'm not going to make it to my house in time. Can we do this at 6? I was like, bro, like, no, just look at the situation. Call me back. We'll figure out what day is going to work best. Are you okay? Are you okay? He's like, I'm shook. I'm like, I'm sure you are. I said, but are you okay? He's like, no, physically I'm fine. I'm just shook up. I said, okay. So we rescheduled it for the other day. I went out. Their mortgage is like $600,000. I get there. There's like Porsches in the driveway. Him and his wife have lunch for me. We sit down. They're like, no, we've researched this. We know exactly kind of what we want. We just want to kind of have your professional opinion, right? And your help to submit the application. Huh?
That's how it should be.
Excuse me?
Yeah. That's how it should be.
And so $663 a month policy, and he thinks this is so reasonable because I showed him the value. We talked about other companies, what they offered, what they didn't, and we put him in the coverage that he exactly specifically wanted.
Yeah. And that's the power. That's why the leads are outperforming anything that you ever expected, is because it's all about the data. It's all about the speed of the data. And these people know exactly, for the most part, they know what they're looking for. So you can take the role of advisor. You can sit down and have a good conversation, understand where they're coming from, and then go ahead and show them like, hey, let's go ahead and do this. This is the best scenario for you.
Yeah.
And really be the professional in the home, which is a huge difference than you coming in and trying to replace a final expense policy, which happens a lot over the previous company. So
I noticed that my AP is just bigger.
Yes.
It's just bigger with these leads, or I'm covering the exact whole amount of the mortgage that's smaller. With a little bit left, a little bit excess, we always round up for final expenses. This makes so much sense, to them. They're like, oh, then I don't need this, that. We can just do this one thing.
Yeah.
And
you're breaking up a little bit. Say that one more time.
Oh, I was just saying, I can cover more because everybody kind of understands the process, and they're like, okay, yeah, this will cover the house, this will cover groceries, this will cover this. They're just a lot more calculated of a person that I'm sitting with, that I find here, in my state with my leads. Mm-hmm. But here's the kicker, is that now Devin's in Oklahoma, and her leads do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I've heard some kickback that nobody answered, and these aren't great leads, and I think I got B leads. I can't even imagine our B leads being bad. Honestly, I can't. I just can't. They didn't answer or whatever, but
I've actually got a bunch of agents that are running B leads only. And that are like, dude, these B leads are awesome. I don't even care about getting any of the A leads.
I've got multiple states of agents who are like, what are these?
Yeah.
So when I hear some kickback, I'm like, but that, you kind of get what you get if you call anybody and you have, some sour in your tone, like, maybe you're so frustrated that you sound frustrated, and maybe you're not going to get that lead.
Which is very possible.
But it has been 100% my experience that it's not the case.
Yeah.
So, it's just goes to show you.
How much have you invested so far in the leads, and how much have you how much business have you written?
I have it written in here.
Pulling it up. While you pull that up, I'm going to do a shameless plug. Hey, if you're watching this and you see my fancy shirt that I've got one of our ADV1 #transparency shirts on. So you're thinking, where can I get that sexy shirt? I'll tell you where you can get that sexy shirt. This shirt is on the Advantage One Brokers website. Go there. You can go to the store. You can get Advantage One Brokers #shirts. You can get polos. There's long sleeve t-shirts now. There's pants. There's short. There's all kinds of stuff. Go there. Go get some swag. And yeah, that's the shameless plug of the ADV1 store. But now let's continue. Jax, our message was brought to you by.
Right. Our message is brought to you by swag. So let's talk about October. So in the month of October, I have spent $750 in leads. I have $15,356 of business.
That's not bad. It's not terrible at all.
So I think if you're going on to ROI, if you're a numbers person and you're going off of ROI, those are real numbers. Dr. Burns' numbers are similar too. 5 leads, 10,000.
Yeah. So I spoke with an agent yesterday who called me. I'll be getting him on the podcast soon. But he called me, and it was his first appointment with ADV1, first batch of leads he'd bought, and he sold a $6,000 F&G policy, IUL.
Yeah.
And he texted me while I was in the home looking for some F&G help, so I sent him to David. David is more an expert in F&G and IULs than I could hope to be. So I just connected with David, and David helped him out. And he called me, and he was like, dude, I just want to say thank you. He was like, I didn't know I was doing this wrong. He's like, I've been doing insurance for a long time, but I've been doing it wrong this entire time. He's a first appointment, first sit. He was like, I literally used the method that you talked about in training for IULs, except I just did it towards IULs, but we had that training on IULs during mortgage protection. And he was like, it was a conversation. It was literally like we were having an advisement session, finding out what made sense for her, and everything fit for her. So getting this, getting a $500 a month policy was super easy. He was like, it was like stupid easy. It didn't even make sense. He's like, I've never had that kind of ease in the home. The leads, the training, everything combined here is just amazing. I just want to say thank you. And it meant a lot. It really touched my heart. So
we've had those conversations too, where it's just,
yeah. And it's basically the same conversation that you're having right now, like your experience so far with the leads.
Like, I'm super grateful, and I'm still learning my carriers. Like, I have a policy that I wrote that needs, some extra criteria. So I have to wait to get, paid on it. But I have people to call.
Mm-hmm.
I say, this is what happened. This is what they're asking for. They say, just do this. CC me in the email so I can help you. So I can know that, I can know what they're saying. I can know the process. So I can, really know how to help you. And I didn't have that before.
It's a nice change. When you have leadership behind you that actually show. I can't tell you how many times people have called me and I answered, and they're like, wow, you actually answered the phone. Thank you. And I was like, oh, no worries, you called. And I was like, what's up? How can I help? They're like, no, I'm just blown away that you actually, like, I call my upline all the time, and they literally never answer the phone no matter when I call.
Yeah, exactly. I get that too, especially when someone's struggling and they're like, do you have a script for this? I'm like, do you want to do a Zoom? And they're like, what?
Yeah.
Hi, do you want me and you to role play and talk? Because I can send you to a YouTube Academy, except for you cannot ask questions. So if you can't ask questions, you're just regurgitating the video, right? But every agent is individual. You can't just word vomit the words from a YouTube video and gain the success that you're looking for, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You need to give your people, you need to grow your people, right? You get people, that's great. And then some of them don't, right? But you gotta go to them. You don't, the mindset that I came from was, if they're not writing, recruit. when it's really like, okay, what's going on? What do you need from me? Right? And that's important.
Are you answering a text?
I'm just gonna walk in my house. Someone's about to that. I'm in a podcast. He'll edit it out, I think.
I can try. Or we can just leave it. I like to keep things real and raw. You know what I'm saying? I just like to keep it.
Here's the thing, right? I have made almost $16,000 this month, and my family now knows they can come over. On dial day, I would be like, "Do not come over. I don't want to see you. Like, do not, because my upline's going to be calling me, or I'm going to be in the office, and I can't have dogs, and my kids can't make noise, and that's just not my life anymore, right?" So like, when I call a lead, when I call a lead and I'm at Safeway, they know I'm not in a cubicle in Dubai. I'm the local agent who's going to come to their house, who's normal. They're like, "Oh, Safeway off this street? Yep. Oh, yeah. Blah, blah, blah." You know, I now know that you're a human, and the end.
Yeah.
You know, and just to have the ability to be a human, my work life balance is amazing. The other day I made, almost $8,000, and I went to the haunted house with all 7 of our kids. Right?
Mhm.
Like, I couldn't do that before. Or I couldn't post any pictures of it because nobody could know that I did that, because I go to work all day long and that's all I do and that's all I know.
Mhm.
And
Well, now they have a softer, gentler side apparently, and everyone's got this new kick on work-life balance. It's funny how when all these things that we came over, all the reasons that people left, they're like, no, look at us now. We're posting, we're writing business on the beach now. We're doing this. We're spending time with our family. And now it's like, no, we enjoy that.
No, exactly.
Like, oh, sure you do.
At my house, we stopped. So Kurt and I stopped calling it the practice company. We call it the narcissistic boyfriend. Like, babe, wait, no, babe, wait. I'll be different. It'll be different this time.
Yeah.
Just come back. I'll give you money.
Yeah.
Come back. Oh, you're not going to come back? Well, I'm going to call you every name in the book, and I'm going to control how everybody views you because I'm insecure. Right?
Yeah.
Where we came from is a narcissistic ex.
That's a good way to put it.
And I just, what my biggest issue with all that is, like, if you come back, we'll give you money. If you come back, we'll give you higher comp. Well, let me tell you, one of my favorite things Chris ever told me is 130 plus comp will not pay your mortgage. 130% of nothing is nothing.
Yeah.
Which is, great. And we'll give you an unlimited supply of leads. That's like giving me an unlimited supply of V8 juice. I can't do anything with it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing I can do with it. But if I were somebody who had stayed, who was loyal, who didn't falter, but maybe isn't your best writer, I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
Where's my money? Where's my free leads?
Where's my comp raises for staying?
Where's my comp raise for staying? What the heck? I'd be pissed. But I don't have to be pissed, because I'm like a pioneer in this. I jumped. When you jumped, I jumped. I didn't even look. I just jumped.
You did. You jumped pretty quickly. So
I was like, I'm out. And I've never got the opportunity to regret that, because even in the moments that I wasn't sure what was next, I had faith, and I relied on you. I relied on, Chris. I have John that I can call. Wes is amazing. I really got, when I came here, everyone was like, fail forward. When I got here, I got to experience what that was like with somebody who wasn't going to let me fall on my face.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's just awesome. And You know, they say if you got a lot of haters, you're doing something right. So I can tell you, we are doing very, very well. You know,
Doing all
I
the right
love
things.
right. And, now my agents, right, the ones that I got to bring over here, um, they're getting posted, right, on ADV1, and I get to post their pictures. Their family gets to see those pictures, and it's awesome to see them out there because it was a struggle, and that struggle, it scared some people away. But on the other side of that struggle, oh my gosh, it's $15,000 in a freaking 2 weeks. Not even 2 weeks. Not even 2 weeks into the month, but that's October, right? So I'm gonna hit 30 or 40 on freaking accident. I work part time. I literally don't work. I don't dial.
You basically 20x'd your initial investment or your investment of leads this month.
I did. I did.
You 20x'd it.
And I still have money in my, deposit. I still have appointments for the end of the week. I still have leads that'll trickle in, and I'll dial and I'll go out to them or call them. Like, I'm not done. I just didn't, and it's not like, oh, I'm lazy and I just didn't do anything. I just don't have that much to do, and I trusted the system. I kept it at 10. I kept it at 10 A-leads. I know some people are like, oh, if I can make that on this, I can do it on 20. But just like for me, I did 10, right? There's other agents that are going to be in my area. I'm cool with 10. My agents are, getting 10, and they trickle in, right? So it's not really like 10 leads, $500. It's really like, you did 100 today, did 50 tomorrow, and that's why I just keep my deposit little lead bank, full. And I don't do a ton. I mean, I smile and I laugh about it, but like really my life is just, it's better. It's better, and I have support, and I'm with a group of people who ask questions and care about their agents. And that's where I wanted to be. So that's where I am. And, my agents, some of them aren't even writing, but they're so happy, right? They're like, I haven't even wrote a policy yet, but I feel that relief, and I can't wait for your numbers to be my numbers. And they believe that they will, so they will. That's how this works, right? They see it, that's going to be me. Not, I wish that was me. They're fired up because they just lost the wind in their sails, and it's back because I'm like a whole fan. I'm like, let's go, right? We did the scary part. We got through contracting. Your carriers are here, your leads are in, let's go, right? Because I've got their back on anything that's scary. Anybody on my team, if their upline wants to reach out to me, my little hashtag on my Insta's right there, right? These are my people. I care about them. They are going to win. They're going to be strong. And if you are a decent person, you will wish them well. But if you don't, that's my Insta.
Very nice. And since you have family coming over, what would you say is a parting shot to anybody that's watching this that's either thinking about coming or been watching and they're nervous or, scared, they're afraid of, what could happen to them, what their parent company, their practice company will do to them? What would you say to those people?
If you're scared of your narcissistic boyfriend, what anybody would tell you would be leave, right? That's a red flag. But what I can tell you is if you can do the process where you're at, you can do it here. It's just a learning curve. If you had started here, you would be more comfortable here, and it would be difficult to leave as well, right? But what I can tell you is I didn't feel the transition back to the field because I know who my people are. I know that they're going to answer the phone. I was my biggest fear, but I had to just keep going, right? Because I was here and I was like, I want this to work. So it did. I have 5 to 10 people I can call in home when I have questions for contracting, for CRM help. I have everybody in my belt. But all I had to do was go ask them, right? I got everybody's phone number day one, right? And if you're scared, reach out to your upline. We're not in a culture here that's going to be bullied. We've been bullied. We're all very resilient with it, right? But if we can help you, we will, right? It doesn't have to be scary, and you're not by yourself.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you so much for coming on board, Jax, and sharing your story with everybody. If anybody wants to be able to get in touch with you because they want to work alongside you, they hear you and they're like, man, I want to be able to learn from Jax and grow my business with her. How can they get a hold of you, Jax?
I'm a little more on Instagram than Facebook now, but you can. I'm Jax Perry on Facebook. My Insta's right there. I'm on TikTok.
You are on TikTok.
I throw some shade on TikTok, but you know what? That is the platform for that. It is all in good fun.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jax, for taking the time to come on board and to speak your story and your truth to the agents. Jax, this is the month of October, and you know what that means?
It means it's almost November.
I mean, that is also a true statement. It means it's almost November, but it also means that we are doing the quality level term competition.
Yes.
Goes from October 6th to November 13th. The top 10 people within that time frame that have the most net place production are going to be awarded with the number one spot's going to get $5,000 cash, flown out to Sacramento, get live on a podcast with Chris Spencer and I, and be treated for a day to basically get to see everything over at the headquarters in Sacramento.
Oh my gosh. And you know what? Quility they're such an amazing product for one. But for two, going out to Sacramento might not seem like something much, but it is a whole experience, right?
And they're good about making it an entire
it is
day.
An event.
Yeah.
It is an event. You know, when I think of Sacramento, I think of John Doe, and nobody makes you feel more welcome than John. And so whoever wins that, you're in for it.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and winners will probably be announced about the week or 2 weeks after the end of the competition over on November 13th. But don't forget that competition is still going on. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for taking part in the ADV1 podcast. We come to you each and every weekday in order to bring you relevant topics and trainings. So on YouTube, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and you turn on your notifications so that you know when we come and stream to you with all this information and you catch it. Now, here's a fee for us doing this because we don't get paid to do this. We do this of our own hearts and just to help every single agent out there. But here's the fee. If you got something out of this, if you learned something from Jax or the conversation that we had together, if you were entertained at all, anything, share the content with somebody that can get something out of it.
Yes.
So the fee is simple. Just share the word, share the content.